Brandon Marshall released by the New York Jets. LA Rams released new uniforms, but are they really new? Welcome to the Zenny 62 live stream for Thursday night, March 2nd, 2017. Vlogger. That's right, vlogger. I had to have coffee this time. Now you wonder what the heck is going on with the New York Jets and Brandon Marshall. And that you would, if you ask such a question, you'll be asking a very good question. Here's why. Because, first of all, consider this with Brandon Marshall. Brandon Marshall is, what, 6'4", 220, something like that? Yes, that's right. Coffee. And he's 32 years old. But he's amassed 12,061 yards in his career, 82 touchdowns, and even though he had a subpar for him 2016 season, his 2015 season, he caught passes equaling 1,501 yards. Yeah, and I believe he had 14 touchdowns. Statistically, from a touchdown perspective, his best year ever. So here the Jets turn around them. Hey, you're letting them go. And you gotta wonder why. What's going on? And, well, look, first of all, it's not that they can't renegotiate with him. The release, reportedly, I haven't done the math myself, so I'm only explaining what I thought I read, saves the Jets $6.6 million in cap space, okay? All right. But Brandon Marshall is no fly-by-night wide receiver. He's not someone that you ignore. And consider this with respect to the Oakland Raiders' two top wideouts, Amari Cooper and Michael Crabtree. Both are 6'1". Yes, both are fast, 4.5, 4.4 40s, but they're both 6'1". Brandon Marshall is 6'4". Okay, 6'4". That's a full 3 inches, and the man can run. And when he puts his mind to it, he can block. Okay, now, yeah, I did say that. Now, why shouldn't the Raiders go after him? I'm just asking. Okay. Can you imagine Brandon Marshall with the Oakland Raiders? I mean, can you? It kind of makes sense for Brandon Marshall to come out west and play for the Raiders. I mean, heck, he's been everywhere place else, right? But what do you think? Brandon Marshall with the Raiders. There's noise on Twitter that maybe the Bucs would be interested in him. Yeah? I could see that. But what say you? What do you think about that? What I'm doing right now is I'm putting the metadata in for this live stream. What is metadata? Metadata are tags and proper text in the decision. Proper text, that's why I have the coffee. Proper text in the description area of the video that allow it to be more searchable, as they say, okay? Now, what do you think? You told me. I already asked you that. Let me go back to the watch page so I can see your responses and answers. And we can get this discussion going. So I want to know what you think about this. And, yeah. I put this on sports. I've got to make sure that this is properly tagged because before I was like, So anyway, in fact, they give me comedy, entertainment, news, and politics, but there's no sports here. That's crazy. They've got everything. Oh, there it is, sports. I found it. Never mind. Me. That was the problem. Okay. Basic info. Brandon Marshall released. Scroll up, view on watch page, and that way I can see your responses. And hey everybody, how you doing? All right. Barry Lee says, Coffee, coffee, coffee. And then Ivan 3600. Welcome, Ivan. I don't think I've seen your name before. Didn't Marshall say he would retire if the Jets released him? Let's see if he did. Let me look that up. Marshall retire if Jets released. Let me see that. Airplane Blue says too much money, and he'd rather have Deshaun Jackson. Another short, fast guy. I don't know. Let's see here. After worst year, this is from NJ.com, all right? Jets Brandon Marshall insists I'm still an elite receiver. I'm reading this right now to you. This is as of January 3rd, 2017. And like I said, he's only a year removed from his best season ever, right? So it says, okay. And I don't blame the Jets' woes on Marshall. I blame the Jets' woes on offensive coordinator Chan Gailey. I thought that Chan Gailey should have been fired. Chan Gailey was the offensive coordinator for the Jets. I thought he should have been fired. I really did. Fulham Park, after thriving last season, his first with the Jets, wide receiver Brandon Marshall in 2016 endured the worst year of his career. Yet he still thinks he is an elite receiver, as he said Monday. Okay. He says he will turn 33 in March, and he says he's not finished, and that he's extremely confident that he is an elite receiver. He still demands double coverage and still demands a lot of attention. He has a $7.5 million salary cap hit, and the Jets would save the full amount by cutting him. And reportedly, he is open to taking a pay cut. He said he came into his 2016 team the best shape of his life and smarter. And he says he was expecting big things, but that didn't happen. And he said this is a statistical year that most receivers could hang their hat on. Not for him. The bar is set high. It's not acceptable. I think a lot, the trouble here is that Airplane Blues says, Brandon Marshall, I don't care. He's played for Denver, Chicago, and New York, so who else? That's right. But here's the question, all right? Remember Roddy White with the Falcons, and he was really an effective guy, but he was more of a possession receiver. Brandon Marshall's a guy who can score. Bahala Nakamel says, did I pronounce that correctly? Says they should go after him, talking about the Raiders. He knows how to catch the ball. Our wide receivers seem to always have the case of the dropsies. Yeah, they do, don't they? Bahala Canelo says, no, I heard he asked to be released. I didn't see that yet. Oh, you mean, but I could look and see if that's the case. Barry Lee says, I wonder how much he would want to play for the Raiders. Airplane Blue says, I said I don't know. Okay, you don't know. Okay, I get it. I get it. I think the Raiders should sign him. Brandon Marshall's a special talent. He's really got his act together off the field and his psyche, as we all know. And I think he would be a tremendous asset. Plus, he's tall. He brings to the Raiders something they don't have, a tall, fast, experienced wide receiver. I think the Raiders will pursue Adrian Peterson. The question is, do I believe that's the right decision? The answer is no. I don't. And I don't because he seems of late injury prone, and I'm starting to view him as much as I do Jadeveon Clowney, kind of a China doll, prone to get injured. And you have to ask yourself what you're going to do schematically in order to maximize his talents, given his habit of being getting injured of late. All right. Hey, how you doing, John? How are you? And I should say hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Hello, all. Yeah, there. Hello, all. I think that has to be asked. I really do. I'm going to put this out on Twitter, let everybody know we're here. Come in and join the party. Hey, so do you all think, by a show of yes or no, should the Raiders go after Brandon Marshall? Yes or no? Your thoughts? waiting. What I'm doing right now is I'm putting out on Twitter that we got this live stream going. Raiders, okay. And Barry Lee says no. Ivan says we have a 1-no from Ivan. Barry Lee says yes. John Marks, what are chances Raiders acquire Brandon Cook? Don't know the answer to that question, but John, what do you think about Brandon Marshall? Should the Raiders go after? Baha Macanel says yes. Bill says no. So we have, all right, John, you're the swing vote. John says yes. Swing vote wins so far. We have 2 no's, 2 yeses, and a yes from John Marks. Sitton says we don't need wide receiver. Eric says, hi, Zenny. Do you think that his inside the NFL job with Showtime would be a distraction? That was a big problem with the Jets. Jerry Camilla says no. You know, I thought about that, and I do think it's a distraction. And I think because it gives him, hey, Donald Richardson, you haven't missed much. I started a little bit late, about 12:06, so you haven't missed much at all. We're talking about, Mr. Richardson, we're talking about Brandon Marshall. Do you think Brandon Marshall should be targeted by the Oakland Raiders? That's the question. And, yeah, there's a pun there. Do you think Brandon Marshall should be targeted by the Oakland Raiders? Targeted, yeah? Catch that ball, Brandon. Anyway, yeah, that's what it is. So, Donald, we're taking the poll. Now, I think the Raiders should go after him. I do. All right? Raiders need a wide receiver with speed like Tyreek Hill. But, Jerry, Brandon Marshall has speed and he has height. Okay? And he's experienced. So, why not him? Hey, how you doing, the Rolling 100? Welcome aboard. John Marks says Brandon Marshall will be a great as Raider. I agree. Barry Lee says, who else do you think will go after Brandon? Well, the Buccaneers as a possibility. You know, Brandon Marshall has a lot of possible suitors. He could go to Miami again. He could go to... There's so many places Brandon Marshall could go. It's not funny. It really isn't, because he really is a whale of a talent. He really is. And I think the poor season he had in 2016 was not his fault. I firmly believe it was the fault of the offensive coordinator, Chan Gailey, and not employing him properly. So, Chan Gailey's style is not what I favor. Okay? Just being honest. Magic 510 says, inside the NFL, that's where Brandon Marshall's going. And yeah, Marshall went to New York and broke all their single season records for a wide receiver. That's right. Roland says, but how much is he asking for? The Roland 100, I understand he's willing to take a pay cut. Now the question is how much? Don't know the answer to that question. I don't know. Do you think Brandon can still produce great numbers for a few more years? Yeah, I do. I give him another 3 years. Yeah, 3, you know? I think that, again, if you get him this year, it's to make a Super Bowl run, okay? But you've got to be ready with a proper scheme for him. You can't, for example, say I'm just going to use him as a decoy. But you've got to use him in such a way that he's matched up against shorter defensive backs and take advantage of that height. Donald Richardson wants us to go after Pierre Garçon instead of Marshall. You might have a point there, you know, but I don't know. It's that Pierre's got that great possession explosion capability, but Brandon Marshall is just plain explosive. I'm reading the comments as they come down here, hence why I'm looking in this direction. In fact, let me show you what I'm doing here, just so you can get an idea of what's what's happening here. So it's not so sticky like that. Ta-da! There, that's what I'm looking at. See that? There are all the comments. All right. So you can see yourself, right? Brandon says, I think. Barry Lee says, I think Brandon can still produce great numbers a few more years. All right. Donald Richards says, I really like us to go after Pierre Garçon. John Marks, Raiders need to go after Brandon Marshall and Deshaun Jackson. Oh, but I have a question there. The Rolling 100 says, depends on if we get Adrian Peterson. Satan says, Raiders need defense like Campbell Hightower. John Marks says, nice. Ivan 3600, we need Stephen Gilmore. Why? Why do we need Stephen Gilmore? E.T. Riss, what do you think about Jeremy Kersey. He'd be cheap, and we need a speedster in the slot. Whoever used Brandon, we have speedsters though. We could put Crabtree as a speedster in the slot. Put Marshall on the outside. Offense isn't the issue. What was play calling last season? They needed offensive coordinator can open playbook when they're behind. John Mark says, I agree. Donald Richardson, if we get Marshall, who do you push inside, Crabtree or Cooper? Crabtree. Crabtree. Anyway, you get the idea of the other side looks like, right? So, there you go. That's what I love about the live stream is I can switch the camera around. So technically I've got two cameras, forward and back, Well, forward, well, get the idea. But Ivan 3600 says cornerbacks. But this draft is rich in DBs. Why can't we get someone deeper? Why do we have to get a DB in free agency? When you have so many good cornerbacks, particularly coming out of the SEC is cornerback and defensive back rich. Why not? Just asking. Just asking. Now, Barry Lee says, whoever uses Brandon, I believe he has to monitor. Barry, can you explain that? I think I know what you're saying, but I want to hear that. And John Marks is saying, I agree, but I think he was agreeing to something I said, not necessarily what Barry wrote. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. And Sitton says, either way, it's going to be fun to see what happens next Thursday. Yes. Next week is pivotal. We've got Libby presenting before the NFL owners. You've got the Las Vegas Stadium Committee coming up. You've got, trades and free agency. Now you've got, of course, this week we have the NFL Combine, obviously. Bill Walter, why is so much talk about the offense when our defense needs help? What do we need on defense? Bill, I think we need a fast defensive tackle, like Deshaun Walker from Florida State. He is my favorite. I think he would be a terror. He would be better than Warren Sapp. I really do. Citron says, inside linebacker or cornerback. Citron, you got anyone you favor, perhaps? Reggie Ragland from Alabama. John Marks, Vegas is dead. No, I'm Vegas, stay in Oakland. Yes. Donald Richardson, number 44. Gotcha. Is Libby going to New York for the meeting? The meeting is actually not in New York. It is in Florida. Okay? And that's all I'm able to tell you right now. It's in Florida. Donta Hightower from the Patriots. Is that the same Donta Hightower that had the car accident a few years ago and basically restructured his career and his life? Good story, if so. Good story. The Rolling 100 says, thanks, you are welcome. I say you're welcome. Donald Richardson. I keep telling people FSU number 44 is the truth. He is. When I saw number 44, I was thinking about President Obama, POTUS 44, POTUS 45. Anyway, if Peppers falls down to the Raiders, do the Raiders draft him? Hey, look, if Cam Robinson, offensive tackle from the Alabama Crimson Tide is there, the Raiders must take him. They simply must take him. I'm telling you, Cam is the next great offensive tackle talent. Anyone who says, put him at right tackle, nah, I say leave him at left tackle. The man can destroy the Myles Jarretts of the world, okay? Just can. I know my buddy Rick Saratella disagrees with me. I'm going to put this whole thing to a deep dish pizza bet with Rick. Yeah. By the way, if you haven't done so, you should take a look at our NFL Combine live stream interview I did with Rick last Thursday. It was really great, very informative. Rick's got an encyclopedic mind when it comes to the talents and the NFL Combine. You really should check it out. Really should. Who did the Jets draft at number 6? The Jets at number 6. I really believe the Jets at number 6, Leonard Fournette. That's who the Jets draft at number 6. LSU running back, almost Heisman Trophy winner. That's the person. That's the man the Jets drafted number 6. That's the person. That's the person. Game types do I watch? We're not talking about that. 240 pounds. Yeah, so? The dude can run. It's called bowling ball, battering ram, Jerome Bettis. Boom, 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 boom. Rumbling and stumbling. Well, he's not even really rumbling and stumbling. He's more like a battering ram. Boom, 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 boom. You know? That's what you want, okay? Game Turts. I haven't heard of him until now before. So, and I, if that's somebody you want me to interview, I'm delighted to do so. Bring him on to my live stream show. And that'll be fantastic to do. You want to make the connection? Please do. All right? He's fat, so, but he can run. Donald Richardson. Leonard Fournette can run. He's fat, so. Let me see. That's fine. But hey, that's fine. Let me see something here. Donald Richardson, I just want to, you know what? Since I can turn things around here, let me have some fun here. Give this interactive here. Fournette. He's 6'1", 236, all right? And he explained that water consumption was responsible for his heavy weigh-in, okay? Let me show you what I'm reading, all right? Every time he plays good defensive teams, he's a no-show, says Donald Richardson. Okay. This is according to Chase Goodbread, all right? And let me show you what I'm reading here. All right, hold on a second. Let me bring you over to see what I have found here. Right there. That is cancel. Oops. Okay. There. All right. That's him at the scouting combine giving the interview. Okay. And I can't play that audio. I have to be careful for copyright reasons, but I can show you the text. All right. And it says, "It's surprising. I drank a lot of water before I weighed in, so it was water weight. It went away completely. I wanted to weigh in at 225, which is what I played in at the season," Fournette said Thursday. At 240, Fournette was the heaviest running back at the combine, which drew plenty of attention on Wednesday. He certainly doesn't expect to be any slower on Friday when running backs take part in the 40-yard dash and other combine drills. Somewhere in the 4.4s, Fournette said when asked what should be expected of his clocking in the 40s, okay? Look, let me put it this way, all right? Let me put it this way. If Fournette clocks in at 4.4 at that weight, I'm sorry. That guy better go within the top 6. Period. Okay? I mean, are you kidding me? Come on, man. You got to do that, all right? I mean, look, Donald, do you see what I'm saying? You have to agree with me. If Leonard Fournette clocks in at a 440 with 240 pounds, it's game over. All right? Game over. If he does that at that, it's got to be game over. In fact, you can make an argument to draft him over Myles Jarrett. I would, because I'm not high on Myles Jarrett. I'm sorry, I am just not. I saw Cam Robertson ragdoll the guy. Period. I'm not high on him. Maybe second round, sure, but first round, won't do it. I would not pull that trigger. If I were the GM, the owner would have to fire me. I would not pull that trigger on Myles Jarrett that high in the draft. I'm sorry, I won't. Just won't do it. Let's see here. Will the Broncos take Kaepernick, Romo, or draft Deshaun Watson? The Broncos do not need Kaepernick. Romo will be a good backup. The question is, would he want to take that role? The Broncos are high on Paxton Lynch. Paxton Lynch is an amazing talent, and my prediction is he's going to be one of the top flight quarterbacks this coming year. So the Broncos spent money on him. They went through a lot to make sure that he was drafted first round, okay? So my point is, why should the Broncos, after having gone through all that, then go after another quarterback that could start ahead of him and is a veteran? You want somebody who can come in and replace him, who can teach him the game, and when it gets to playoff and crunch time, be a nice mentor. But you don't necessarily need the competition because that takes away from his tutelage. Why? That's how I believe it should be handled. Okay. Now, Donta, if he does, I agree, but he will run the high four fives. But Donald, what if he clocks in a 4-4? I'm just asking. I'm just asking. Okay? Barry Lee. And even if he clocks in a low, like let's say he does a 4.51 at 2, that's still fast. But 4.4, Nick, get him, man. You wouldn't take Garrett in wild one? No, I'm sorry, I wouldn't. Okay, no. No. Everybody who thinks Miles Jarrett is great needs to have their head examined because against top SEC line talent, he doesn't do well. Okay, you have to remember the Alabama Crimson Tides. They get 2 pansies every year. So you're going to show me tape of Miles Jarrett, basically, having his way with some lower level offensive tackle from a school you never heard of? No. I'm sorry, man. No way. No. Hey, you know what? Miles Jarrett was handled by Tennessee's freshman offensive tackle last year. First game out. Did an outstanding job against Miles Jarrett. I'm sorry. No. I don't care what the herd says. The herd is wrong a lot. No. Not at all. Now, where is this, all right? Belasted. How do you feel about the Brandon Marshall release? I didn't think it was a good idea. I felt that I've said this before you came in. I'll say it again. Brandon Marshall was the victim of a bad offensive coordinator and a terrible scheme, and he doesn't own the team. So what can he do about it? He can yell and complain, but obviously it went nowhere. Todd Bowles is protecting the wrong people. Game Tut says, can we bet on this? Yeah. Okay, here's the bet. All right. Now, Game Tut, last time I issued a bet is with Benjamin Albright, okay? One of these, I don't know, whatever he does. And he bet me money about the Vegas issue. Vegas is going nowhere. You know it, I know it. And yet he gets on Twitter and says all these bad things about me and puts out what he thinks is my personal information. Not a good guy at all. Not a good guy at all, okay? So if you're going to bet me, you got to make sure you're ready to pay up. So what's the bet? Just let me know, okay? You promise within now. Game Tut says that he promises within 2 years that he'll have a 10-sack season. I'll take that bet. Yeah, I will definitely take that bet. Now remember, 10 sacks is the minimum. 10 sacks is the minimum. This guy's not Joey Bosa. I'm sorry, he's not. You can turn him this way. In fact, I keep talking about this. David Tutt says, wow, that's fucked up. You promised. No, that's true, though, okay? Yeah, it is fucked up what that guy did, yeah? It totally is. Is Albright NFL on Twitter. Donald Richards says, look at Miles Jarrett hands when trying to get upfield. It was evident he needs help in that area. He has a prison build big up top with skinny legs. Yeah, he's kind of like a Jadeveon Clowney, but less explosive than Jadeveon Clowney. Slightly less. Barry Lee says, on a coaching note, do you think the Raiders have any weaknesses with any of their assistant coaches? No, I don't, because it's hard to evaluate an assistant coach unless you can say that coach, well, let's say you're probably thinking about offensive and defensive coordinator. Everything emanates from the head coach. So you don't know what the head coach is telling the assistant to do. And the head coach has to subordinate what that person individually wants to do for what the head coach asks the assistant to do, okay? So it's at the end of the day, you have to evaluate the coaching staff from the perspective of what the head coach has the coaching staff do and the results. The only person who can really evaluate the assistant are the other assistants and the head coach and the players. You have to be inside to really get that one. So I can't say that. I can't square that circle, okay? I don't think it's fair to do so. Should the Raiders go after Chris Long? You saying, hey, you hate the Rams, you're going to get that one, yeah. Get guys sick. People who try to fuck with people's personal lives. Yeah. Would you take Solomon Thomas or the DE from Alabama? DE from Alabama. Should the Raiders go after Chris Long? No. Did you get any news on the Raiders DB coach? Who is it? No, Donald, I didn't. But somebody asked me, and I did get information on what happened with Jamal Charles. Um, and and here's the thing, okay? Now Jamal Charles really he didn't really fail this physical. It was more, as it was put, kind of a weird outcome regarding revenue down the road, but it wasn't a cut and dried. He failed his physical. I think there's something of an interpersonal political nature going on between the Chiefs and Jamal Charles that put Jamal in the situation that he's in. It's not clean. Does it leave Jamal open for a deal with another team? Yeah, it does. Here's my question to you all: Jamal Charles or Latavius Murray? Question. All right. You say if you win, Game Touch says no. You know what? Let's just make it a gentleman's bet, because I've won so many bets and people have paid me off. I've got John Furrier, who issued a bet with me regarding on a tech news issue. He lost, never paid up. I can count the number of people I bet against, they never pay up. So I'm tired of it. Just, if we're right, I'm right. If you're wrong, if you're right, whatever. But I'm tired of it, okay? Just being honest. Now, Behind the Kennel says, Howie has always acted like he didn't want his kids nowhere near Oakland. That's interesting. Barry Lee says, what pick do the Raiders have this year in the first or second round? Let's go over what they have here. I got the right at the let's see here. NFL draft, first round picks. I'll go through them all with you. 2017, and then I'll turn this around and we can all take a look at it. Okay. There's a mock draft here. All right, I'm going to go through this mock draft style because I think it's stupid. I'm sorry, I just think these selections are stupid. I do. I just burns me up. Here we go. All right, you ready? Turn it around with me for a bit here. All right, there we go. Right there. Okay, now this is from Walter Football. They have Cleveland Browns taking Myles Jarrett, defensive end, Texas. 49ers, Jonathan Allen, the defensive end from Alabama. We've got the Bears, Mitch Trubisky, quarterback. That high? North Carolina, oh boy. Bears don't need another quarterback. The Bears need another quarterback like they need a hole in the head. Jacksonville Jaguars, Solomon Thomas, defensive end, Stanford. Tennessee Titans, Jamal Adams, safety, LSU. New York Jets, Leonard Fournette. Hey, just like I was. Wait. What was I telling you, huh? Hold on a second. Hold on a second. What did I tell you? Hey, someone's thinking like me. Good idea. Yeah, Leonard Fournette. L.A. Chargers, Malik Hooker, safety. All right. Carolina Panthers, Michigan Lattimore, quarterback, Ohio State. I don't know if I like that pick there. Cincinnati Bengals, Delvin Cook, running back, Florida State. Buffalo Bills, Mike Williams, wide receiver, Clemson. They have the Saints, Derek Barnett, tight end, Tennessee. Cleveland Browns again, Maria Humphrey, cornerback, Alabama. Arizona Cardinals, Reuben Foster, linebacker, Alabama. Colts, Cam Robertson, my favorite, offensive tackle, Alabama. Eagles, Corey Davis, wide receiver, Western Michigan. Baltimore Ravens, Sidney Jones, cornerback, Washington. And so there we go. All right, now let's see here. Picks 17 through 32 coming up. Washington Redskins, Zach Cunningham, linebacker, Vanderbilt. Tennessee Titans, O.J. Howard, tight end. Alabama. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Christian McCaffrey. That would be huge. That would be huge if the Bucs got McCaffrey there. Wide receiver, running back, Stanford. Denver Broncos. Garrett Bowles, offensive tackle, Utah. Detroit Lions, Adoree Jackson, cornerback. Miami Dolphins, Taco Charlton, defensive end, Michigan. Good choice. New York Giants, Deshaun Watson, cornerback, Clemson. Quarterback, Clemson. You see that? I like that. Deshaun Watson to the Giants. Look out. Oakland Raiders, Caleb Brantley, defensive tackle, Florida. Over Deshaun. See, I don't agree with that one, but the DT is the right one. Houston Texans, Pat Mahomes, quarterback. That's a good idea. Texas Tech. That would be if that happened. That would be Lee Steinberg's second quarterback pick in the first round in as many years, consecutively too. Seattle Seahawks, Ryan Ramczyk, offensive tackle. Wisconsin, Kansas City Chiefs, Deshaun Kaiser, quarterback, Notre Dame. Dallas Cowboys, John Ross, wide receiver, Washington. I like that. I like that. I like that. Green Bay Packers, Charles Harris, defensive end, Missouri. Pittsburgh Steelers at 30, Takaris McKinley, defensive end, UCLA. Atlanta Falcons, Malik McDowell, defensive end, Michigan State. New England Patriots, Jabril Peppers, yes, safety, linebacker, Michigan. And so there we go. All right. So that's how that looks right now. All right. Now I'll go back to. I couldn't see your comments with that in the way, so I'll go back to what your comments are here, and I'll catch up. Now, let's see here. You guys are talking about the Rams uniforms. I'll get to that in a second. All right. Now let me see what I missed here. Going back. Oh, Howie. Let's see here. Barry Lee, Gabe Tut's my bet offer stands. Just a gentleman's bet. Let's leave it at that. Barry Lee, mock drafts are annoying. John Marks, LA Rams uniforms look ugly. I'll get to that in a second. Let's see here. John, to me look weird. Game Tuts, best skill position players in the draft. Corey Davis versus Mike Williams. Corey Davis. John Marks, original LA Rams uniforms look better. I agree. Game Tuts, I'm a huge Corey Davis fan. Loved him the minute I laid eyes on him when the Broncos played Ohio State in 2015. Ding! John Marks, yep. Game Tuts, bad mock. No way all those quarterbacks go in round one. I don't know. I disagree with that. I do think that's a possibility, but I'm not really that high on Mitch Trubisky. That high. I think Deshaun Watson should go higher. Now, who's the best middle linebacker in the draft? Reggie Ragland, Alabama. Game Tuts. It could be only one quarterback draft in the first round, being Mitch. And there's more. Okay, now, I'm going to put this out for another tweet, and then we'll talk about that other thing that has to do with that team down south. And you'll find out what that is. There we go. Now, okay, let's have at it again, and we will turn to that subject matter of, where is that thing? Ta-da! All right, folks. LA Rams in uniforms. What do you think? There they are in all their glory. What do you think? You know, it reminds me of one of those dolls. I don't like them. It's not that I don't like them. It's just I don't see much of a big difference. I really don't. You know? But hey, take a look at this. This is a concept. That's the Rams, and then that's the Raiders. That looks weak. I'm sorry, that looks weak. Looks like somebody sort of defrocked the Raiders or something. Doesn't look like it has much Raider character to it. Then we've got, let's see here. Now that concept I liked. That's cool. But what they wound up with? Yeah. And I agree with John Marks, the old LA Rams. I like those. But, let's see. Rams versus Rams, the Rams fan voting. All right, so now now that you've seen those, let me get your comments back, and I'll look at them. We can go from there. Okay. Now, and by the way, if you didn't see the uniforms, you can sort of scale back or move the needle back and see them, and then come back. Right. I'm talking about the video. Jason Tarver. Jason, how are you, sir? They just remind me of the old LA Rams unis before they. Yeah, they did. That's all. It was a harkening back to a past that I don't think. Let me take the I don't think out of my statements. It was a harkening back to a past that a lot of people don't know. And I think what the Rams should have done was gone ahead and basically rebranded themselves entirely. Remember how the Denver Broncos used to have the horse with the flying snot coming out of his nose? And with the D and the horse, they had the giant D and the horse with the flying snot coming out of his nose, right? And they changed that to the sleek horse, which is really cool, The Rams should have retired the ram and given the ram a different kind of symbolism. Yeah. So anyway, new color rush uniforms. And Barry Lee says, yeah, you can't rely on to really tell the old Rams don't stand out like they did with the yellow. Yeah, they did stand out. They really did. And to me, the Rams of old, that one with John Robinson and the tough running and the defense, these Rams are different. So that Rams helmet looks like a college helmet, not a pro-style helmet. Yeah. Denver Broncos old looks better than now. John, I like now. I'm sorry, that horse with the whatever that crap coming out of his nose, I couldn't eat and watch that logo. I like the current Broncos uniform. I like that a lot. I'm sorry. I just, that... What the heck was that horse blowing anyway? What was that? It wasn't Godzilla's atomic fire. I'm sorry. It looked like, snot. So, yeah. Anyway, it did. Barry is like, it did. It was smoke. The Denver Broncos horse is blowing smoke out of his nose, okay? How do you know it was smoke and not snot? How do you know the difference? I'm just asking, okay? Who is my favorite NFL team? Raiders. And by the way, Reggie Ragland was drafted last year. Yeah, I'm thinking of Foster. I am. You're right. John Marks, Denver Donkey Snot. That's right. Yes. Jason Tarver. I think it was Steam like it was a cartoon character. A cartoon character gets angry. Yeah, I know. I was just having a little fun there. Aaron Blaylock. The Rams' old jerseys with the horns on the shoulders were the best. Any news on the Chargers changing their look? I'll do research on that. Barry Lee. Oh, snot. Yeah, I'm sorry. It was. Take a look at it. It's got the thing. It's like Anyway, it was hot air blown into the cold wind. Nah, it was snot. I'm sorry. It was just. Yeah, but it looked stupid. It did look stupid. Completely. Oh my God. It was. I mean, I gotta find that D. Now, see, I'm gonna find that old Broncos D insignia. Hold on a second. Old Denver Broncos logo. Hold on a second. Old Denver Broncos logo. Show you exactly what I'm talking about. All right. Yeah, there. I found it. Yeah. That's definitely snot. Have a look at what I'm talking about, folks. You've got to see this. It's definitely snot. Watch this. Ta-da. See that? Look at this. I mean, are you kidding me? Look at that with the horse. Look at that. What is that? See? What is that? Oh, it's gross, man. Come on. Look at that. I mean, just, look at that. Come on. Oh, by the one they had before that this was ridiculous too. I mean, where did they come up with these ideas? Jeez Louise. That guy looked more like Godzilla. Okay? Yeah, exactly. Look at that. That was more like Godzilla. That one didn't like it was either a Godzilla. It like a cross between a Godzilla and a horse. You know? Look at that. What were they thinking? It just it boggles the mind. Now that's much better. No snot, no nothing. I mean, come on. Really? Seriously? Nah. All right. Yeah. Yeah, it was a snot beam. Exactly. it was a it was a snot beam. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, that was too funny. That was too funny. Completely funny. I got Gamera. John Marks says Gamera. Yeah, it was a high pressure snot. That's what Barry Lee says, right? My head would be stopped up to if I had lived that cold. Okay, Aaron Blaylock, you're absolutely right. But I wouldn't, see, I would keep my nose closed. I'd blow out my mouth like, right, Do you collab on podcasts? Yes, I do, Game Touch TV. Let's talk. Barry Lee, yes. Jason Tarver, they changed to that look for sales to the younger generation. Jason, they did a great job. Now, why couldn't the Rams have made a similar decision with respect to the new uniforms of returning to LA? Just saying. It's the 21st century, right? It's the 21st century. Yeah? 12:52, I think I'll bow out of here at 5 after 1. Because I started at 5 after 12, right? Okay. All right. Any other thoughts? How many people are going to tune in to the Combine tomorrow? I've already tuned in. Me, you. Who else? Okay, we're on the other subjects from Donkey Snot. Oh, by the way, hey, anybody get the new Zenny 62 T-shirt? I'm not wearing it today. It's being cleaned. I'm wearing it quite a bit. Question here. I can't no cable. Where are you? I thought you lived in the Bay. I back and forth between East Coast and West. My mom is here. And am I from Michigan? No, I'm not from Michigan. Why do you ask? Game Tuts. Why do you ask if I'm from Michigan? Perhaps. Game Tuts' answer. Now, still waiting to do in Saturday. Okay, Barry, let me know. Keep me posted on the shirt. John Marks, you buy your shirt yet? So we can have a trifecta. And remember, 10% of the proceeds from the shirt go to Code of Support. Code of Support helps veterans and their families and members of our armed forces who are having trouble coping or finances or just need someone to talk to. Code of Support, codeofsupport.org. And I thought said Team Down South when I said Ohio State, Corey Davis. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I meant Team Down South. I was talking about, I was referring to the Rams and the uniforms, okay? Jason Tarver. I didn't see who the Raiders were supposed to draft. The stream froze. Oh, that was, geez, let me go back to that, okay? And I'll get a water for, I'll get some water for you. I'll get an answer for you real quick here. Let's see here. Show all history. There's the history. It's Walter Football, mock draft. And I'll get you the answer real quick. And the answer is, anyone give me a drum roll, please? Thank you. Caleb Brantley, defensive tackle, Florida. And the reason was Oakland's defense improved as the season progressed, but there has always been a big void in the middle of the defensive line. I imagine the Raiders will want to spend a high selection on a prospect who can generate some pressure in the interior, and Caleb Brantley is one of the top prospects available. So there you go. Caleb Brantley from Florida was the yeah, I mean, to me, Watson, oh, number 44 from FSU, that's the one. Um, yeah. Oh, okay, no, I'm a Golden Bear. In fact, Cal basketball plays tonight. Am I missing the Cal basketball game? Anyway, whatever. Go Bears. Davis Webb. Go Bears. Let's see here. And Adoree Jackson. Hey, John Marks, did you get the T-shirt yet? By the way, folks, if you want to know what I'm talking about regarding the T-shirt, go to click on the link. All right, in the description area of the video. Yeah. Do the Bills keep Tyrod Taylor? They should. They really should keep Tyrod Taylor. He's an amazing talent in an offense that I thought was expertly designed by Greg Roman. My only issue with the offense that Taylor played in is a lack of short play action rollout ball control passes, either rollouts, waggles, or sprints for someone of his athletic ability. They really didn't keep him moving like they should have. They also could have been more creative than they were, all things considered. Now, Cal getting asked, oh, don't tell me that. Oh, no. No. What quarter? Jerry, what quarter? Man. What is it with us not... It's something about Utah. We just... whatever. Second half. Jason says, go Bulldogs. Why, Jason? Did you actually go to Utah? I went to Cal. I have a reason to be upset about this. What say you? Huh? I mean, come on. I got my master's degree in city planning from Cal. I'm on the alumni board. I was on the alumni board from 1988 to 1998, excuse me. 1998 to 2003. What's your story? Now, so you went to Fresno State. So, okay, Fresno State Bulldogs. I get you. All right. Go Cal Bears. That's right. Thank you. Patrick Mahomes. I like Patrick Mahomes. There. Now, Jason Tarver says that I went to Fresno State with David Carr and worked with the football team when Derek Carr was there. Did you meet Derek Carr, and also what was David Carr like? Just curious. And let's see here. Now, as far as what else is going on in the news here with respect to uniforms, I'm still interested in this whole Raiders uniform issue. It says I'm gonna type something, Raiders new uniforms, and see what comes up. And okay, folks, Raiders new uniforms. There is this Matt Flynn Raiders. I'm not really seeing anything, except I am seeing this interesting helmet. No, the Raiders shouldn't change uniforms. I agree with you, but take a look at this helmet design, okay? Look at that. That's cool. Now, Jason Tarver says, yes, I met Derek Carr before I left, and David Carr is actually a really good guy. Yeah, look at that. I like that. Here's another concept right here. Let me pick out that one. See that? Yeah. And here's another one. Well, it's not really a concept. That's a memorabilia one. That's what I was looking for. Look at that. See that? Interesting. Then let's see what we have here. That's the Pro Combat Series. I'm not really high on that one. I don't know. Okay. So anyway, there's a look at the Raiders' different concepts for helmets and uniforms, okay? But I agree. I think that Yeah, I think that Jason Tarver says that that helmet picture was floating around on Twitter for some time. Okay. John Mark says that's cool. Audio Vibe 28. Hey, Audio Vibe 28, how are you? Zinni, do you think Mark Davis will like the new stadium plan for Oakland? Yes. Barry Lee, have a good night. Barry, good night. And thank you for checking out. Hey, by the way, folks, Sunday, if all goes according to Hoyle, I'll have a special guest, Dr. Death. That's right. Dr. Death will be the special guest on the Zinni 62 live stream. Yes. I'm going to write that in. Yeah, you see. Say Sunday. I'm going to write that in large letters. Sunday. Dr. Death is my guest. There we go. Okay. Dr. Death. All right. John Marks, we'll see that Bob Yulkin's YouTube channel has the Whoopi Goldberg clip. I'll check that out. I really will. Let's see here. Pick emoji skin tone? What is this, people? Ah. There we go. Now. And, all right, folks, it's 1:02. I'm going to sign off in about 3 minutes. And, was anyone paying attention to this whole Jeff Sessions thing, by the way? Ugh. You know, we've had 8 years without scandal. The Trump administration's a scandal a week. My God. Ugh, my God. John Mark says, no. Why, you don't want to consume Pepto-Bismol? All right. So, any other thoughts as we close? Next time we'll have, oh, by the way, one day I'll have Zinni 62 mugs. It says, Al Davis would roll over if we change uniforms. Yeah. I do think that there is such a thing as leaving well enough alone. It's fake news, Zinni. Says. I like that. Yeah, Dr. Death. And Jason Tarver says the only reason we would change uniforms is if Davis is getting pressure from the league to change because they have forced everyone else to change. That could be. That could be. You know, I miss the days when the coaches like Tom Landry wore suits on the sidelines with a hat. I thought that was really cool. I thought that was very cool. Absolutely. But that was quite cool, actually. I really did. And our unis are like Yankees pinstripes. Never. I like that. I quite agree. They are. Yankees pinstripes. I like that. Yankees pinstripes. Tom Landry had the classic looks, and by the way, his suits were made by Hart, Shafter, and Marks, specially designed so that, you know, that big card that he carried with the play card, they designed a special lapel pocket for them, inside lapel pocket for them. It's about yay big and so deep. Cool. Yeah, we are the Yankees of the NFL. We need to be ran in a way that we generate Yankees money. We haven't done that. Brandon Marshall to the Raiders? Yes, yes. Brandon Marshall to the Raiders. Fake news. No, Dr. Death is real news. No fake news there. Dr. Death, Sunday. So, and stay tuned. I may be traveling this weekend. We'll see. I have a hard time just leaving because my mom is here. She's my only family, and you know, it just if you're an only child and your mom is in her 80s and you've got responsibility there if you don't have wife and kids, and if you do, as I've said before, everybody should be together. Another story. That's how I insist on rolling. John Marks, what ideas you coming up for your April Fool's joke? Well, considering that it's just March 2nd, got another month. I I have an idea. I'm not going to share what it is, but my April Fool's jokes always have an intense impact. Period. Period. I started doing this April Fool joke thing in 2009. Now, what do I mean is when I started at SF Gate as a City Brights blogger, I wanted to post a type of April Fool's news story that people would believe, but it wasn't true. But it was close enough to reality for someone to believe it. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. Because last year, remember the whole Libby Schaff introduces the Raiders plan thing, right? And I did that to really poke the city of Oakland to say, hey, look, people are calling for a plan. Stop slowing around. Let's just get this thing going. So I pushed everybody, and folks got mad and yada yada yada. And at the bottom of it, I wrote Lerpa Sloof, which is April Fool spelled backward. But my best one, my personal best, was, I had a number of them. It was the only one where I said Libby was going to run for mayor before she ran for mayor. That was in 2010. Scared the heck out of everybody. And then there was, let's see here. There was the one that I came up with in 2011 that was even better. And I said that the city of Oakland was going to hire William Bratton, the creator of Stop and Frisk, to be the next police chief of Oakland. Oh boy, everybody went nuts, and the progressives were like, oh no, this is a bad thing. And I had Annie Campbell Washington call me and say, oh, that was not true, and take it down. And she's got police people calling her and yada yada. Was that 2000? What year was that? That was 2000. Actually, that was 2014 is when I did that. Yeah. Oh, everybody was up in arms and mad, and was it 2014? 2015. Anyway, people were just pissed off. I loved every second of it. Bill Bratton is police chief. Now, Jason Tarver. So with Raiders allowing Murray to test the free agency market, do you think they would go after Adrian Peterson for temporary relief? Sadly, I think they'll go after him, but whether or not they'll reach a deal is another thing. Hey, thank you, Audio Vibe. I really appreciate that. Let's see. We need a Okoye-like running back. Hey, Octavio, don't you think that Leonard Fournette would be that Okoye-like running back? I'm just saying. All right? I'm just saying. Thank you. And on that note, folks, I'm going to sign off and get ready for bed. I'm exhausted. Thank you all. And for tuning in. And hey, in terms of other subjects, not necessarily football related, what would you like to see talked about here? Just want to know as a throw out. Thank you. Good night, John. Thank you. But throw out, Miley Cyrus. Music talent. Politics. Let's see. Old TV shows. I like that. Like Star Trek, for example. I'm a big Trekker. Hey, Comic-Con. O.J. Simpson. Audio Vibe says O.J. Simpson. Comic-Con. What's coming up at WonderCon and Comic-Con? How about that? Also, are any of you game developers, gamers? Game Developers Conference is right now in San Francisco. Just asking. Logan is out this week. I'm going to see it. Yes. WonderCon forever. Absolutely. Comic-Con too. Especially Comic-Con San Diego. All right. So I've got my list. Corey Bayou says no video. Corey, what do you mean video of, what were you looking for? Can you explain that, Corey, before I sign off? And why aren't there more Asian people in the NFL? I feel this doesn't get enough attention. I think it's because who plays the sport, it starts in the elementary and level from there, and it's a matter of where your parents track you. And from my observation, a lot of Asian parents don't track their kids to play sports of that type, okay? And neither do their friends. Would that change all the time? Sure. But when I say it's not an either or, it's a matter of percentages, or what would seem to be anecdotal percentages. When you start playing at pee-wee level, then it's high school level, and so on, then it goes up, That's the general pattern. and I think it's for that reason. Um, it's certainly not for any discrimination or anything like that. It's just a matter of where a person decides to take their lives. Um, and so, Corey, you haven't explained. You said Corey Brown, no video. This is video. I don't understand what you mean. WonderCon in Portland. All right, yeah. I don't understand what you mean. And Corey's not saying anything about video. Okay, I can't wait. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thanks. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Um, ET123 Rick Rice. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. All right, folks. Thank you, John. Thank you, everybody. And I haven't heard from Corey Brown as far as no video, and that doesn't make any sense to me. So, thank you, John. And remember, Sunday, Dr. Death. I'm really excited. All right. Thank you all. Thank you very much. I'll see you.